Today, we are excited to welcome Marcia Moreno. Marcia's journey is truly an American story, a North and South American one. Born and raised in Chile, she came to US in 2005 to pursue her graduate studies and has lived here since. In 2018, Marcia founded AmMore Consulting to focus her passion for elevating Cleveland's Latino professionals and helping organizations get Latino-ready, which we will learn about today. Through her work, Marcia has received multiple awards, including the 2023 Distinguished Hispanic Ohioan, 23 YWCA Women of Achievement Award, and the Girl Scouts of Northeast Ohio Women of Distinction. Other recognitions include 2021 Cranes Women of Note, 2020 Notable Immigrant of the Year, 2020 PwC Lead Diversity Alumni of the Year, and in 2021, she was awarded first place by the Northeast Ohio Hispanic Business Center Business Pitch Competition. And we are most excited to call her a graduate of the Leadership Cleveland class of 2024. Please welcome Marcia Moreno.
Thank you so much, Rachel. I appreciate it. Let me do the technical part first so I can start sharing screen 2 here. And then please let me know if you see my screen. Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much. And I won't be able to see everyone here, so my apologies. I will just see my screen. Good afternoon, everyone. Rachel, thank you for the invite. My name is Marcia Moreno. I am the president and founder of AmMore Consulting and the creator of the 100 Plus Latinos Cleveland Must Know. I am super excited to be here today talking to you a little bit more about my work and the importance of changing narratives and elevating Latino leaders. I came to Cleveland in 2005, as Rachel mentioned. As an adult professional, I already had a full career behind me in Chile. I was coming for 2 years. I studied journalism in Concepcion in Chile, and I came for 2 years to do my master's degree, thanks to a wonderful opportunity that was given to me at Cleveland State. But life had other plans, and I ended up meeting my husband, my best friend, my classmate. My husband is actually in the picture here on your left. To the left of the picture is my husband. So what started as a 2-year program ended up being a whole life that I have spent here, and I made Cleveland my home. So I came here with, a life and a suitcase full of dreams, full of ideas, and the hope that, I will improve my chances, I will have a better life, and I will go back to Chile. But again, I ended up staying here and making Cleveland my home. I quickly realized that having an education, a strong resume, a professional experience back in my country were really not enough. I had to start kind of all over again, which is the story of many immigrants. Learning not just a new language, but also new ways of being seen, being valued, especially in the workplace. It was definitely a humbling experience. Many times it was frustrating, and many times it was lonely. But also thinking back now, it was the beginning of the work that I do today, helping organizations understand what it truly means to create spaces where others, in my case, Latino talent, can not only belong, but lead and thrive. Because my story is very personal, but by no means is unique. It happens to so many of us here in the United States. Today, there are more than 60 million Latinos in the United States, 1 in every 5 Americans. We are the fastest growing and youngest segment of the population. And if the US were their own country, our GDP would rank 5th in the world, ahead of France and the UK. Right here in Ohio, the story is also changing and growing. The Latino population has grown by over 40% in the past decade, reaching over 500,000 people statewide. In Cuyahoga County, the Latino population has also grown by almost 30%, and nearly 80% of that growth is under age 35. So what does this mean, right? I always share these numbers and people are a little surprised because they really don't realize how much the Latino community is growing and how much it's growing here in Ohio. This means that the future workforce, the future leaders, the future innovators, the future patients, the future clients and customers of this region and the country as a whole are increasingly more Latino. We will have a more Latino flavor. So despite of this representation, when we look this presence as a community, in demographically speaking, when we look at leadership tables and executive teams, Latino representation is still very, very small. That gap between our presence and our growth and our visibility and influence is really the reason of why I do what I do. Because when I began my professional career here in the US, I worked in workforce development, talent management, education, diversity, equity, and inclusion, areas that are deeply connected to opportunity and advancement. And in almost every step of the way, I didn't notice at the presence of Latinos. So I work with the Latino community. I help people find jobs, navigate systems, and develop careers. But I saw Latinos mostly in entry level and frontline roles, but very rarely in more managerial, executive, or decision making positions, really. The higher I would go in the career ladder, the fewer Latinos you would see. And this is across the board in all industries and at all levels. So, and to be clear, there is no shortage of talent, really. What was missing, in my opinion, and based on my experience, were the pathways, the visibility, and the intentionality to help that talent rise. So I saw many talented Latino professionals, people with a lot of skills and incredible ideas, skills and passions being overlooked because they really didn't fit the traditional molds of leadership. And that was also quite of what was happening to me. So I began to see a pattern. Again, the problem wasn't a lack of talent. The problem was really a lack of readiness and understanding and awareness. The workplaces that are not quite ready and prepared to see, value, and develop Latino professionals. And that really was the realization that led me to create AmMore Consulting. As Rachel mentioned, I help companies become Latino-ready. And what this means is that Latino-ready workplaces that are the ones that know how to effectively attract, recruit, retain, advance, promote Latino talent in meaningful ways. And with this work, what I've learned is that diversity really doesn't start with hiring. That's usually what I tell my clients not to do at the beginning, because really becoming Latino ready starts with understanding, with self-awareness, with reflection, understanding our values, our cultural norms, our motivations, and the unique barriers that Latino professionals face, navigating spaces that really weren't built with us in mind, and that we come from other places, so we do things in a different way. So you have to really understand and embrace that diversity. But I also knew that in order to change systems, we needed to change stories. So too often I would hear, companies telling me, well, we'd love to hire more Latinos, but we just can't find them. And my answer was always like, well, where are you looking for them? And what are you doing to find them? Because I know plenty of wonderful Latino professionals that are looking for opportunities, but you can't find what you really are not looking for and don't make any effort to really find us in the right places. So that's why in 2020, I launched the 100 Plus Latinos Cleveland Must Know initiative, which is really a very simple idea, to make visible the invisible, to make visible the wealth of Latino talent that already existed and exists in our city, and to challenge and change the narrative that Latino excellence is rare or hard to find. In our first year, we feature 103 incredible Latino professionals, leaders in business, in healthcare, in education, in government, in the arts, and community work. These are just some of the pictures of the events we have done over the years. 6 years later, actually last Friday at the Aviator, we celebrated over 600 Latino leaders across Cleveland and Northeast Ohio. So every year, this network grows stronger. Our honorees are joining nonprofit boards, launching companies, being promoted, mentoring others, and most importantly, really creating visibility for what Latino leadership looks like today. One of the things that I'm the most proud of is that it was not intentional either, was the fact that this list and this movement, this group, is now becoming a source of inspiration, and they are role models for the newer generations, for the younger Latino kids that now see themselves in others. So because you really can be what you can see, and we didn't really have a lot of role models in the Latino community, and I feel like now we have 600 individuals that are movers and shakers in the city that are really inspired the next generation of leaders. So this project really has become a lot more than a list. It's really a movement. It's a statement that says we're here, we're talented, we're shaping the future of this region. So when I talk about creating Latino-ready workplaces, I'm not just talking about diversity goals or inclusion training. I'm really talking about recognizing the leadership strengths that Latinos already bring and learning to see them as strategic assets and not things that you have to fix in Latinos, right? Because we really don't want to fit. We don't want to fit the cultures of the organizations. We want to add to the cultures of the organizations. So we're resilient, right? Many of us have built our lives and our careers from the ground up, often in new countries and unfamiliar systems. So that persistence and adaptability are leadership strengths that any organization would be lucky to have. Collectivism. So Latino leaders often think in terms of we and not I. We build community, we lead collaboratively, and we measure success by how others grow alongside us. And lastly, cultural agility. As bilingual, bicultural professionals, we know how to navigate differences, not just between languages, but between perspectives. And that ability to bridge cultures is so invaluable in today's global multicultural world. So through my work with companies, I've seen what happens when leaders start to understand these strengths, when they stop asking, how can Latinos fit in our culture? And they start asking, how can our culture evolve to reflect the strength Latinos bring? How can we include that, make it our competitive advantage, and really become inclusive and see the strength that Latinos brings? And that's really when the transformation begins. So how do we continue to change the narrative and elevate Latino leaders? So what can you do, right? Because I can't leave today without asking you to do something too. So I think it starts with, at the very least, 3 commitments: visibility, access, and readiness. So visibility, keep shining a light on Latino excellence. Please help me shine a light on Latino excellence in our workplaces, with the media, and in our communities. As I said, we can be what we can see. So we have a commitment with the growth of Latinos in this region as a source of talent. In a region that has such a crisis of talent already, there is an opportunity to elevate Latino professionals and also bring up and lift the Latino high school students that are going to need role models. So continue shining the light on Latino excellence. Access, open doors. Representation isn't enough if the opportunities remain out of reach, right? Mentorship, sponsorship, equitable career pathways are essential, and all of us can do something about it. And readiness, build organizations that are truly ready for Latino leadership, where inclusion is not an afterthought, but a core competency. So we're not waiting for permission to lead. We have been leading. We are already leading in our communities, in our families, in our businesses. But it's really time that our institutions reflect that reality. When I arrived in Cleveland 20 years ago, I never imagined that one day I would be standing here speaking to you about Latino leadership, community, and change. Actually, I didn't even think I was going to be in the US for more than 2 years. But what I've learned is that every challenge and every barrier I face as an immigrant and as a professional has become the foundation of what I do and my work. Because I don't want others to have to go through what I went through, to be seen, to have community, to be heard, and to belong. I always say that I created AmMore Consulting and the 100 Plus Latinos um, as a way of creating the company and the platform that I wish I would have had when I came in 2005. I I built AmMore Consulting and the 100 Plus Latinos with the core value of helping others, leaving the place in a better way, in a better place than when I started, right? Cleveland gave me a home. Cleveland gave me a space to dream, gave me a wonderful family. And today I see a city where Latino leadership is no longer the exception, but the expectation. There is still a lot of work to be done, but I believe that if each of us plays a little bit of an active role in elevating Latinos and providing opportunities for Latinos, we can move the needle. Because at the end, really, when Latinos thrive, Cleveland thrives. So thank you. That's what I have for you today. Thank you for the invite.
Marcia, thank you so much. Let's jump in and learning a little bit more about the process for engaging a company in your work. Where do you often begin and what might that scope of work look like?
Sure. So usually a company, I tend to work with mid-sized and larger companies and organizations. So my first step on the door is via their Latino employee resource groups, or what they used to be called affinity groups. And they would invite me either during Hispanic Heritage Month or as part of their annual curriculum in terms of professional development, leadership development, or awareness. So I would do a workshop or a speaking engagement for the Latino ERG members, and they would invite everyone, including leadership. And some of these numbers that I share with you today are the ones that I share, and some of the strategies. And it's like a big aha moment. Oh, okay, well, we need to start thinking about Latinos because of the growth of the community and the lack of opportunities and representation. So usually it starts with a speaking engagement or a workshop, and it goes from there depending on what they are looking for. So I'm a boutique consulting. I do very unique work with each company. Some companies want to expand that work and they do like workshop series in different areas of their company. So we do a workshop for HR and talent. We do a workshop for marketing. We do a workshop for the Latinos. So depending on their needs, we would craft a series of workshops. But some other companies would say, or nonprofits sometimes would say, we really need to reach the Latino community. Can you help us figure out how to do that? And that would be another way of engagement. So anything and everything that has to do with Latino talent, I'll be happy to support. But the reality too is that because in this region, there wasn't really any intentionality behind doing work with Latinos, I have ended up doing a lot of other work in terms of reaching the community and working with the community, particularly after I started the 100 Plus Latinos, because they know that I have the largest network of Latino professionals in the region.
And Marcia, we've talked previously about how diverse that population is in Cleveland. So how do you elevate the nuances and the diversity within the Latino population itself?
That's a great question. And the way that I have approached it is that I trust so the 100 Plus Latinos, let me take a step back. The 100 Plus Latinos is a self-nominating platform. It's a free platform for everyone that self-identifies as a Latino, Latine, Latinx, Hispanic professional, or even Chilean, Argentinian, or whatever label that you feel like serves you well. So from that perspective, that has been my way of ensuring that you decide who you are. If being Latino, Hispanic, Latina, Latinx is important to you and is relevant, you belong in this group. So I try not to, this is not a contest. This is not an award. This is not, I don't have rules for people to join. I have one rule, two rules. You are self-identify as Hispanic or Latino, and you have a LinkedIn account because I want to make sure that they can connect with you. Other than that, it's free, it's open to everyone, and you make it as valuable as you want it to be, because what I want is to show that we are there. So I think that by making it so democratic, as I call it sometimes, because everyone can really join, I ensure that I don't have a definition for who a Latino is their own identities, what's important to me. And as long as they self-identify, they are part of the group.
Let's talk a little bit more about the 100 Latinos that you've identify each year. What have been some of the outcomes or success stories from elevating these lists every year?
I wish I had more metrics because I know they are out there and I have a lot of stories that people tell me, but I need to do a better job at collecting those because I know they are very important. Anecdotally, I know that many Latinos, so in terms of numbers, I feel like everyone that I talk to says that they had never realized how important community was for them. Because again, before the 100 Plus Latinos, there wasn't really any place where you can say, oh, I feel like I'm with my people now. I feel like I'm here and everybody looks like me and I can talk about things that are important to me in English, in Spanish, in Spanglish, with an accent, with, that space didn't exist. So the most common result or testimonial that I get is like, oh my gosh, I finally feel like I'm with my people here. I love that because I didn't have that when I came. And again, it's thinking back to me, but also to the many more that I'm hoping come to Cleveland and the region. In other more concrete ways, I know that people are being more visible in terms of becoming board members and being approached by all type of organizations in the region to become board members. I know some others have even created their own other organizations that are almost like a spin-off of the 100 Plus Latinos. So I just spoke to someone, Luis Cruz, yesterday that said that he got inspired to create his own nonprofit on, Pride, Latinos in Pride, because of the work of the 100 Plus Latinos and because he got connected, right, to other Latinos, that he felt like he wasn't alone. He felt like he had a community that was behind him to do this work. Some others have been reached out to be mentors for like Esperanza, College Now, and places like that. Others have found employment. Others have found that they can put it in their resume and it's important for them as a way to grow in their careers. So there are multiple ways. And I would say that the other one that is relevant is, as I said, the fact that we now have younger individuals that aspire to be part of the group when they graduate from college, and they are becoming, a source of inspiration to others.
And as you have built this network, are there examples of really ambitious proposals that you might have received on how to activate all of those in your 100 Latino network?
You mean from individuals within the network or from companies?
Either. So are there anyone that's been approaching you to say, here's how we can activate this network and really look towards community development?
I would say at this point, it's a little bit of both, but it's still in the early stages. I think that part of the work that I have been doing over the past, what now, 8th year of my company, is going from the awareness and education into more of the action, right? So there is a lot of interest in connecting with those Latinos, right? To go to my events or to, have an event with them, but there is not a lot of follow through, which I think is one, companies want to be very transactional. And the reality is when you work with particularly underrepresented groups, you really have to be more relational, especially with Latinos, because we are a relationship-based culture. As diverse as we are, as unique from different countries of origin or different backgrounds, we're still very relationship-based. And the US tends to be more transactional. So I have a lot of companies that are interested, but they kind of stop there. They don't get to the more relational, longer term work that you need to have. And that's what I was saying, everybody wants to reach out to me to get, job openings and to hire people. I'm like, good Latinos are never without a job. So unless you really develop a relationship with them, it's not going to work because we're still in like really good positions. We need to grow in our careers, but we're never really without a job. In terms of the Latinos, what has happened that has been wonderful is that Latinos, geographically speaking, are starting to organize and get together. So I know there is a group of 100 plus Latinos in Canton and like that area, and they get together and they are, super active in the nonprofit space. They volunteer, they, get together for happy hours. They have groups that they are starting to organize a little more. And that has been wonderful too. But there is a lot of more that could be happening.
Marcia, let's look ahead. What is the vision for your consulting work, and what kind of support do you need to help make that vision a reality?
So before the consulting work, which of course is my livelihood, but really my legacy and the work that I do with the 100 plus Latinos is the important part here, at least for this conversation, Rachel. And I love that you asked what is next, because I just announced on Friday that the 100 plus Latinos Cleveland Must Know is now going to be 100 plus Latinos Ohio edition. So I am growing and bringing the 100 plus Latinos concept to the entire state because, again, we continue being invisible and underrepresented. So the model works. I have 6 years under my belt, and I think that it's time to take it to the next level, and it's time to go to Columbus, Dayton, Cincinnati, anywhere really. So the idea is that starting next year, anybody that lives in Ohio is going to be able to be part of the network. And I forgot to mention something. So the platform is not only to be highlighted. Every Latino part of the network, no matter what year they join, they have monthly professional and leadership development programs for free that are offered to them monthly. So we either meet in person or we do virtual sessions every month. So they continue learning, growing, and connecting, becoming a community. Perhaps that's going to take a little bit of fine tuning for the Ohio piece because I don't know where we're going to get together, all of us, but super excited about that and already making some connections in Ohio as a whole. So I guess my first ask for help would be to, connect me with any type of organizations or individuals that might be able to help me socialize this idea and invite and recruit the 100 plus Latinos in Ohio for next year. In terms of my company, really quickly, because I know we're running out of time, is continue thinking creatively about how to effectively attract and retain Latino talent. Things don't happen out of nowhere. If you don't have a strategy, if you don't have someone that can help you navigate that, you're not going to attract more Latinos. So I would love to hear from anybody connecting with me if they want to learn more, better how to do that.
Well, Marcia, we are thankful that you chose to call Cleveland home, and thank you for all of the work you do to elevate the Latino community in Greater Cleveland and now in the state of Ohio. So thank you for all of that.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the invite.